Drishti IAS is pleased to revise its special program, Mastering Mains Answer Writing, targeting answer writing in Civil Services Main Examination. We will be alternatively covering GS Papers 1, 2 and 3 through this program. For GS 4, please watch our program, Ethics, Definitions and Concepts. The link for it is mentioned in the description below. So what is the structure of the program? To begin with, we look at a question followed by the weightage of the topic, approach to the question, structure of the answer, writing the actual answer, and finally focus on previous year's questions. Let us see the question which we will be discussing today. The RTI Act is a strong weapon that enhances accountability, citizen activism, and consequently participative democracy. Comment. The weightage of the topic lies with important aspects of governance, which is part of General Studies Paper 2. Now, let us learn how to approach the question. In general, there are two things we must understand with respect to a question. Firstly, the underlying theme of the question, and the other being what is or are being asked about that theme. Now, let us look at the question once more. The RTI Act is a strong weapon that enhances accountability, citizen activism, and consequently participative democracy. Comment. The underlying theme of this question is RTI Act. With reference to this theme, we must discuss the RTI Act, its relevance, and how it enhances accountability, citizen activism, and participatory democracy. The command word of this question, comment, requires main points on the theme of the given question and your opinion with logic and references to relevant evidence. Now we look at how to structure the answer. The first part of the answer will be the introduction of the answer, which will include a brief description on RTI Act 2005. The second part of the answer, this is the body of the answer, will include relevance of the RTI and how it enhances accountability, citizen activism, and participatory democracy in India. And lastly, in our conclusion, we will provide the challenges and the way forward regarding the RTI. So let us have a look at how to write the answer. Before we begin, let us make it clear that the answer provided here is a representative answer. This is how the actual answer may look like. It can be adapted or modified as per your own natural style of writing, whether paragraph form or short sentences or bullets or diagrams. We have also taken certain liberties with the word limit by including certain additional information in the answer for your comprehensive understanding. So, coming back to the answer. We begin with an introduction. The Right to Information Act 2005 allows any citizen of India to request information from a public authority which is required to reply expeditiously or within 30 days. It also requires public authorities to computerize their records for wider and proactive dissemination of public information. Now we shift towards the body of the answer, wherein we focus on relevance of RTI and how it enhances accountability, citizen activism, and participatory democracy in India. RTI is a powerful tool that strengthens democracy and promotes good governance by enhancing the citizens' ability to participate in the process. Free flow of information is essential for a democratic society. RTI empowers the citizens to promote transparency and accountability in the working of every public authority, thereby enhancing citizen activism. It reduces the gap between the information provider and the information seeker, hence promoting the participative approach to governance. It also enhances efficiency in the administration of public authorities. The RTI Act 2005 did not create a new bureaucracy for implementing the law. Instead, it tasked and mandated officials in every office to change their attitude and duty from one of secrecy to one of sharing and openness. Information Commission to be the highest authority in the country with the mandate to order any office in the country to provide information as per the provisions of the Act. and the RTI empowered the Commission to penalize any official who did not follow the mandate. Right to information has been the key to strengthening participatory democracy and ushering people-centered governance. Access to information can empower the poor and the weaker sections of society to demand and get information about public policies and actions, thereby leading to their welfare. It showed an early promise by exposing wrongdoings at high places, such as in the organization of the Commonwealth Games, the allocation of 2G spectrum and coal blocks, etc. Right to information opens government's records to public scrutiny, thereby arming citizens with a vital tool to inform them about what the government does and how effectively, thus making the government more accountable. It also improves decision-making by public authority by removing unnecessary secrecy. Now, we shift to the last part of our answer, which is the challenges and way forward. The RTI Amendment Act 2019 allows the central government to decide the salary and tenure of Chief Information Commissioners and Information Commissioners. This is seen as a threat to the independence of the institution. Hence, the RTI Act must be revisited and strengthened in its spirit. The order to include the Chief Justice of India under the ambit of RTI Act is an enabling decision. This should set an example for bringing other institutions such as political parties, the Central Bureau of Investigation, etc. under the RTI to make them more accountable to the citizens of the country. There is also a need for sustained mass awareness campaign and for greater voluntary disclosure of information held by public authorities. Better implementation of this law requires not only political will but also an active civil society and an acknowledgement of its role. It requires a commitment from all to uphold the rule of law. The RTI misuse can also be prevented by introducing the provision for knowing the reason for filing the petition. Also, there should be a provision for penalty for wasting the valuable time of the Information Commissioner for demanding unnecessary information or which is not in public interest. Balancing with privacy right. Another right of citizen protected under the Constitution is the right to privacy. This right is enshrined within the spirit of Article 21 of the Constitution. Consumerism has always been a stronghold of a market economy. An informed citizen has a better access to resources and services and may help in fastening the government departmental processes. India's fight against corruption depends a lot on the implementation of RTI. Now, let's look at some of the questions asked in the previous years. The questions asked in 2019 were as follows. What are the methods used by the farmers' organizations to influence policymakers in India, and how effective are these methods? Implementation of information and communication technology-based programs usually suffer in terms of certain vital factors. Identify these factors and suggest measures for their effective implementation. Performance of welfare schemes that are implemented for vulnerable sections is not so effective due to the absence of their awareness and active involvement at all the stages of policy process. Discuss. In the context of the neoliberal paradigm of developmental planning, multi-level planning is expected to make operations cost-effective and remove many implementation blockages. Discuss. The need for cooperation among various service sectors has been an inherent component of development discourse. Partnership bridges the gap among the sectors. It also sets in motion a culture of collaboration and team spirit. In the light of statements above, examine India's development process. In 2018, the following questions were asked. Policy contradictions among various competing sectors and stakeholders have resulted in inadequate protection and prevention of degradation to the environment. Comment with relevant illustrations. How far do you agree with the view that the focus on lack of availability of food as the main cause of hunger takes the attention away from ineffective human development policies in India? E-governance is not only about utilization of the power of new technology, but also much about the critical importance of the use value of information. In 2017, the following question was asked. Simultaneous election to the Lok Sabha and the state assemblies will limit the amount of time and money spent in electioneering but will reduce the government's accountability to the people. Discuss. In 2016, the questions asked were as follows. In the Indian governance system, the role of non-state actors has been only marginal. Critically examine this statement. Has the Indian governmental system responded adequately to the demands of liberalization, privatization and globalization started in 1991? What can the government do to be responsive to this important change? Effectiveness of the government system at various levels and people's participation in the governance system are interdependent. Discuss their relationship in the context of India. In 2015, the following questions were asked. Examine critically the recent changes in the rules governing foreign funding of NGOs under the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act FCRA 1976. The Self-Help Group Bank Linkage Program, which is India's own innovation, has proved to be one of the most effective poverty alleviation and women empowerment programs. Elucidate. In the light of the Satyam scandal of 2009, discuss the changes brought in the corporate governance to ensure transparency and accountability. For achieving the desired objectives, it is necessary to ensure that the regulatory institutions remain independent and autonomous. Discuss in the light of the experiences in the recent past. In 2014, the following questions were asked. Though 100% FDI is already allowed in non-news media like a trade publication and general entertainment channel, the government is mulling over the proposal for increased FDI in news media for quite some time. What difference would an increase in FDI make? Critically evaluate the pros and cons. Has the cadre-based civil services organization been the cause of slow in India? Critically examine. Two parallel run schemes of the government, viz. The Aadhaar card and the NPR, one of voluntary and the other as compulsory, have led to debates at national levels and also litigations. On merits, discuss whether or not both schemes need run concurrently, analyze the potential of the schemes to achieve development benefits and equitable growth. In 2013, the following questions were asked. The central government frequently complains of the poor performance of the state governments in eradicating suffering of the vulnerable sections of the society. Restructuring of centrally sponsored schemes across the sectors for ameliorating the costs of vulnerable sections of population aims at providing flexibility to the states in better implementation. Critically evaluate. Electronic cash transfer system for the welfare schemes is an ambitious project to minimize corruption, eliminate wastage and facilitate reforms. Comment. Many state governments further bifurcate geographical administrative areas like districts and talukas for better governance. In light of the above, can it also be justified that more number of smaller states would bring in effective governance at the state level? Discuss. The product diversification of financial institutions and insurance companies, resulting in overlapping of products and services, strengthens the case for the merger of the two regulatory agencies, namely SEBI and IRDA. Justify. Dear viewers, with this we conclude today's episode of Mastering Mains Answer Writing. Until next time, stay safe. Thank you. To watch our videos in Hindi, subscribe to our Hindi YouTube channel Drishti IAS.